Mr. Sasser, my name is Raja Krishnamurthy. In a prior hearing, I was called Roger Christian Murphy. And in fact, the other day, HuffPost called me Rokana, and Rokana was called Raja Krishnamurthy. I prefer to go by Raja Krishnamurthy. You can call me Raja, or you can call me Mr. Krishnamurthy. I presume you are Mr. Sasser, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And I presume that you'd like me to call you Mr. Sasser, not Ms. Sasser, is that right?
Whatever floats your boat.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think it's an attack on religious liberty to refer to someone by the pronouns they prefer if that person happens to be transgender?
Well, I know that just in my personal practice, if somebody wanted me to call them something, I would call them that. I think most people are that way. I think that there may be some religious institutions that have institutional reasons why they want to make sure that they adhere to their faith in some way that requires them to be very specific. And I think there's room for that in our country too. I think that we have a...
Hold on, let me stop you there. You think there's room in our country for a religious organization or a religious figure to refer to someone by a pronoun or gender that's not consistent with the pronoun or gender that they prefer?
Well, if the alternative is that the government is going to, by force, make somebody use speech that they find religiously objectionable, and that the government by force will make them do that, I don't think that there's room for a totalitarian move to have government force.
I'm sorry, you think that calling someone by a certain pronoun that they prefer would be a totalitarian
No, that's not what I said at all.
That's exactly what you said.
No, it's not what I said at all.
That's exactly what you just said.
I said that I would call somebody whatever they wanted, and I think most decent people would. But I also do believe that to have the government show up and
is that an
try to
attack
force
on your
somebody-
religious liberty to ask you to refer to someone by the pronoun they prefer?
Well, the alternative is that we have the government forcing people to engage in speech with which they have a religious objection. I don't know if everyone wants to go down that road. If the government can force someone to say something that they have a disagreement with, a deep religious disagreement with, forced speech. I mean, the United States Supreme Court dealt with that in West Virginia versus Barnett in 1943 during the height of World War II, when everybody was trying to be as patriotic as possible, and West Virginia wanted to make little third graders stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance. What's more American than that? But they had a religious objection to that forced speech, and the United States Supreme Court in 1943 said, we're not going to force people to speak against their religious beliefs.
You compare calling someone by a gender pronoun that they believed to be inconsistent with their identity, similar to forcing someone to engage in political speech that they disagree with. Is that what you're maintaining today? That's political speech.
What I'm saying is that it's free speech, and it was enforced by the United States Supreme Court.
Free speech is calling people all kinds of slurs.